Here today, and it's nice to be in this place again, a wonderful tradition of spiritualism. You know, there are not too many spiritualist churches that started out, where the buildings started out as spiritualist churches, still running. They always find themselves in bad conditions of various types, and they meet a demise over periods of time, and they eventually just go out of business. Every month I go to the Reverend Helen Markle's home circle, every month. In Warren, Ohio, we used to have a big spiritualist church there, out of business. There is no spiritualist church in Youngstown anymore, out of business. The Universal Spiritualist Association, however, is pleased to announce that it has a new and very active, with a large membership, church in Cleveland, the United Worship Center, the Universal Spiritualist Church. We are taking on another spiritualist church in Aurora, Ohio, which is, I guess, in that same area. A place called Mystic Farms, a kind of spiritual retreat, remarkable place. And it is coming into the Universal Spiritualist Association. So we're managing to keep our heads up and smiles on our faces and keep spiritualism intact. And the Universal Spiritualist Association, the organization which charters this church, is very pleased that the plans of its organizer, Clifford, are coming to life even more as the days go by. For instance, we went to Lilydale, the Lilydale Assembly. It's in upstate New York. It's not a spiritualist camp. It's a huge place full of wonderful, wonderful old Victorian homes that are now being restored. It's huge. It's about 400 acres. It's on the Casadega Lake. And they were very nice to have us this year, as they hosted our institute. Incidentally, our institute has a board of governors that we call regents, and one of those regents is in here today, the Reverend Claire Gorski. So there are a lot of representatives in this organization, in this church, who are members of the Universal Spiritualist Organization, who do a lot of things for it to keep it moving, as the creed says, onward and upward. It's interesting that the National Association of Spiritualist Churches, which has chartered Lilydale Assembly, is now trying to revive spiritualist phenomena, physical phenomena. And in October, they're going to have the first demonstration of physical phenomena that they have experienced in probably the last 65 years or so, because the National pulled the plug on physical phenomena because it was much too controversial. So they are beginning to look at the values of tradition in the way that the Universal has looked at the values of tradition. You know, you can be as outrageous as you want to in anything that you are involved with. You can be an outrageous actor in the theater. You can be outrageous in the scientific community. You can be outrageous in musical contexts. You can be outrageous in religion and philosophy, if you like. But you cannot be successful if you do not know where the whole concept that you're dealing with comes from. You have to have a very good foundation and excellent knowledge and awareness of the subject that you find yourself trying to be outrageous in. The Universal, in its early days, was considered to be a little bit outrageous because it did somebody is sitting by you right now. Well, anyway, the Universal always tried to promote itself in a very progressive way, because it did all kinds of interesting things to teach people to be independent so that they would not be dependent. You know, a lot of people leave regular churches and gospel shops because the preachers are always up in the front saying, you cannot get to heaven. Nothing good can happen to you unless you come here to get the blessing. But there's a blessing in every blade of grass, in every bird's song. There's a blessing in the wind that blows through the trees. And the Universal has done everything in its power and capability since it was organized in 1956 to make sure that people realize their spiritual independence and exercise their right as a child of the light. So we have always tried to educate people to be independent. That made us kind of a black sheep and a little bit controversial in spiritualist circles, but we're still here. We're still here. Remember that song from the musical Follies that goes, I'm still here. And the lady who sings it lists every possible bad thing that could happen to you no matter what. She sat in the Depression on the street corners with newspapers in her shoes, wrapped up in newspapers to keep warm, but she's still here. Well, the Universal, despite all the controversies and all of the things that are around it, the Universal is still here, and it's going to remain here. It's going to remain here, and wherever it is going to let its light shine. And it's going to encourage the people who are involved with it to let their lights shine. You see, we're different because we don't tell you what to do. We realize that places like this, the first spiritualist church, the first universal spiritualist church of Toledo, and the membership of this church under the guidance of a very experienced and extremely talented and very capable person like Dr. Dingley. You're very fortunate to have this kind of leadership because you have all of the best that there is that spiritualism can offer. You have the best teachers. You have the best spiritual guidance counselors. You have the best talent. And you have the most fantastic person who has ever served spiritualism in every phase of phenomena. So you see, you can't go wrong being a universal church. You can't go wrong being a universal member. You can't go wrong being a universal teacher or minister or cleric or missionary or server or deacon. You can't go wrong with it. Because, as Clifford used to say, we ordain people not only by the fact that they know something and that they have the gift of service. We ordain them by character. Remember that thing that you said a while ago about character? A church is a place that imbues an individual to exercise with the energy to exercise their own inherent character. You can't put somebody down for who they are and what they do. There was a man by the name of Skinner, B.F. Skinner. He was quite controversial. Skinner was the one who came up with behavioral psychology. He said that no matter what you think and no matter where you come from, in the sense of psychological things, no matter how you think, etc., you can be trained, just like a rat in a cage, you can be trained to behave and cooperate in society. Well, everybody thought that was just marvelous, and so they introduced B.F. Skinner's teachings to the education system of the entire United States of America and a lot of Canada. And it began the control of young minds, because they were going to teach people how to behave. And if you could behave well, then you would be accepted. But what about that old concept of those of us who were over 26 years of age in this room, who were trained to be polite to our elders? Why? Not because of some psychological thing. It was just the right thing to do. Be polite to your elders. Show respect for things, etc. So, pretty soon, Mr. Skinner's concepts became controversial because people were finding that there was no respect involved with what Mr. Skinner was promulgating. Mr. Skinner had a daughter. He raised her by his own methods. There are motion pictures documenting he photographed this poor child in every stage of psychological abuse that he could come up with. And it's a study of how never to do things to someone. I mean, he treated her like a rat in a cage, like a white rat in a laboratory. And because of these studies and the methods that were involved with it, people found out that their independence was being jeopardized. That things that they believed within themselves that they had the right to do, they were being channeled to do as, well, remember that old thing about that book, 1984, Big Brother is watching you. If you do what Big Brother says to do, then you're in. If you don't do what, sounds like a Republican's, doesn't it? If you don't do what Big Brother says, you're out. Where you see people like you and people like me don't like to be told what to do. We like to have our own thoughts. We like to have our own feelings. We don't like to be told how we should feel about something. We want to be independent and feel about things the way we need to. We want to have our own reactions. We want to make up our own minds about what truth is, for instance. And the universal has always encouraged that, because I truly think that our fearless leader, Clifford, was one of the most independent thinking people you would ever meet. And anyone in this room, and Corrine Eaton and Mac and a whole group of people in here knew Clifford. And he was an odd duck, yes. But there was something genuinely good about this man. And he believed, it was his creed, truly. He believed that everyone should be allowed to be themselves. And because you are being yourself does not make you an outcast from society. Because you know something? The people who are so busy trying to control all of us independent types are forgetting something. There is a little spot of light, a little bit of energy, a little something that we can't describe, but it is that thing that philosophers tie together as being at one-ment, attunement, the connection with God and man. It's in every one of us. And you know, if someone is expressing the real self, they are expressing their facet of God's light. And we have to stand back and give that some credence and some respect. The universal does not have all the answers. Don't think that I'm in here saying that we have it all. We have nothing but the key to a door. And the big key has lots of copies. And each person in the universal is given a copy of that key. And that key opens the door to you. It doesn't open the door that we say is you. It opens the door that is actually you. And you have your own key to your own door, to your own self. Isn't that nice? Say yes. Yes. We don't tell you when to use the key. We don't tell you when to open the door. We don't tell you when to close it. In fact, if anything, we encourage you to open the door as much as you possibly can so that there is an abundance of health, wealth, happiness, better well-being that is there within you that you can feel for yourself. That's what the universal is about. The universal is about people. People like James Tingley, people like Clifford Bias, people who believed strongly. In fact, a name that you hear here often, Mabel Riffle, was the person who suggested to Clifford Bias that he start the Universal Spiritualist Association. So there's someone, another person. The universal is light and love and truth and peace and power. It is a very peculiar thing because it embodies and contains all of the qualities that are human. It is anthropomorphic in its design and in its purpose. So it's nice to be here again. It's nice to see the improvement in the building. I noticed as I drove down Airport and then it becomes Western, that what had looked to me for a long time like really time-worn, almost derelict, big old frame homes have now begun to show new coats of paint and new roofing. The streets are cleaner. And on a pleasant day like today, you would expect all kinds of riffraff to be hanging off the front porches of these places. But no, it seems to have improved. The area is coming up again. Maybe that's because the First Universal Spiritualist Church of Toledo has had just a little spark of, we're glad we're here, we like it here, and we're going to stay here. Maybe that's rubbed off on the whole neighborhood. And maybe if we're all very lucky, it will rub off on the whole world. Because Alice Bailey used to say that if you want to get truth out to everyone, it has to start with you. Isn't that famous prayer of St. Francis? St. Francis said, let it begin with me. So if you want happiness, if you want love, if you want money, if you want love and sex, and all the things that go with it, all the excitements of life, let them begin with you. Listen, life can be a bloody nightmare if you let it get to you. And people like James Tingley and me and Evan Isaac and Clifford Bias and Matt and Kareem and a lot of other devoted people like this can help each other and help you have a better, fulfilled purpose in the whole scope of the big plan. So it's nice to see this place improving. It's nice to know that there are people who are interested in the Universal's programs. It's nice to see Ruby, and people like Ruby can bring a lot of happiness like you. No matter what you've done, you're a good person. So I've had a good time talking to you, and I hope that life will smile on you and bring you all that you look for, because it isn't our job to bring it to you. It's our job to encourage you to keep on doing the things that you do that make you happy. That's what's important. Life, love, and happiness. There is no more, and it all begins here. God bless you. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful talk of love and what we can do. Doesn't that inspire you, ladies and gentlemen? Do you feel that inspiration?
Yes.
Wonderful. And let us keep the inspiration continuously. As we now give unto God, don't replace that smile with a frown now, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that smile. The Lord loves a joyous giver. And in that spirit of giving, through your generosity through the years, you've kept this little temple, this little light burning, so that many can receive comfort. For all that seek it, they have found it. I now call through the ushers this afternoon. Reverend Claire. And ladies and gentlemen, you play a very important part in giving unto God. With your love offerings that you give generously, put a smile upon your face. For truly you'll get it back tenfold. You have to believe it. For truly it happens again and again and again. But for the moment, let us bless our gifts together. As you hold your gift in your left hand, cover with your right a beautiful prayer of blessing by the Reverend John Bunker. A beautiful, beautiful man of guidance, of love, a teacher. Reverend Tingley's teacher. We carry with tradition, and it has a special meaning here. So repeat after me as you bless your offerings. Don't let those frowns take a hold of you. Keep that smile bright now. Divine love always has.
Divine love always has.
And divine love always will.
And divine love always will.
Supply my every need.
Supply my every need.
I bring this gift.
I bring this gift.
With joy in my heart.
With joy in my heart.
And I ask thee, O Lord.
And I ask thee, O Lord.
To bless it in me.
To bless it in me.
Amen. Please go forward. Through the generosity of the people, these gifts are offered to Thee in Thy presence. Accept them, O Lord, with our love, and accept them with Thy love, and bless those who gave and those who could not. Bless these gifts, that they may go to the growth and propagation of this church, that it may live on, O Lord, to glorify Thee, as it was, and as it is, and as it shall always be, a temple devoted to Thee and Thy teachings. We thank Thee, O Lord, for those gifts, the gifts of love bestowed upon us, and may the circle of life and of love continue, always in Thy name. Amen. And now for the announcements, the Secretary and Treasurer of the Church, the Reverend Kareem Eden.
Well, whoever saw the announcement, as we always put it in the Saturday paper, you know, the church directory of what's going on in all the churches, you saw a very short little one-liner for this week. I had no idea we were going to have a special guest. Had I known, I would have mentioned it in the ad as I did the previous week when we had Dr. Eileen Norwood Trout. We had a very successful, beautiful day with her last Sunday, a very large crowd, and everyone was happy to come see our special guest. And I didn't know about the guest this time until I came in the door. So, he's welcome. And one thing I agree with Ernest about is, of course, the esteem I have for Reverend Tingley, the love, and for Reverend Clifford Bias. I was fortunate that Clifford Bias was the one who ordained me way back in 1979, and Reverend Charlie Swan was my sponsor. That's Reverend Tingley, Bias, Swan, and myself are all Pisceans. All right. Enough of that. There aren't really a whole lot of announcements today. Like I said, I had a one-liner. There isn't really that much going on, or at least I thought there wasn't much going on. Reverend Mack has prepared a nice coffee hour. You know, we had a beautiful turkey dinner last Sunday, and he has kind of like made a chicken salad out of the turkey. Turkey salad. It's like chicken salad. He had a nice big bowl of whatever to make sandwiches with for our coffee hour, and he did a very nice job. And invite you all over that. And Rosemary will be doing her usual multiple choice raffle, and we'll be selling on the 50-50. It won't be, the 50-50 won't be awarded, but we will be selling tickets on it. And if there are any items over there in the way of rummage you're interested in, let us know. You know, we always have a beautiful service on Sunday with our one and only Reverend Tingley at 3:15. And on Tuesday, Reverend John does a very fine job with a Tuesday service at 7:30. And I think that's about all the announcements. Thank you. Oh, one more. I wasn't really present when John was doing part of the healing service, so I did not really hear if he had announced about my grandson, Brian. You all know my youngest daughter, Dawnnie, the little blonde. She's the one that lost the little boy in the fire a few years ago. She had 3 sons. She lost the one in the fire. Yesterday she called me and he is losing the sight of his left eye. He turned 17 the end of July. He's a little boy that only weighed 2 pounds at birth. He was 6.5 months along when he was born. They told her not to expect him to live. He was in an incubator, being 6.5 months, He was 2 pounds, and they thought he would never make it. Well, she made up her mind he was going to make it. This may sound embarrassing, but this is how it is. She took her own breast milk, rode on a bicycle to deliver it to him, to make sure that he survived, and had to argue with the nurses to make sure that they gave it to him, because they didn't really want it out since he was in an incubator, and it was a lot of trouble. And she got special permission to hold him and show him a lot of love. And he survived. I think there were 2 babies in incubators that survived that day out of something like 8 or 9 that were there, that were that normal, that amount of birth weight. He survived. He has done beautifully all these years. He's been a little bit underweight, but he's very, very bright, intelligent, and has done very well with all his life. He just turned 17. Yesterday she found out he has this most unusual problem with his eye. They don't even know what the name of it is, but there's some kind of a terrible tumor that is taking the sight of his left eye, and they are trying to examine the other eye, and he said it looks like it might be starting in that eye also. So I am asking all of you to please pray. We know we have had wonderful results with prayers. They said it will take a miracle. She's had 3 of the best eye doctors in Toledo look at him. One of them came from out of town. And it'll take a miracle to overcome this. And I know we can do it. If we unite, there is strength in unity. And I am asking you personally, do this for me and for my daughter, Dawnnie. I will put his name out there on the bulletin board. And his name is Brian, my right. And I ask you, please, as I have always said many times, when you put love with a healing prayer, it can accomplish a miracle, because God is love. And as soon as you put the love in there, it's unlimited what can happen, because God is there and God is love. And please send healing prayers with love for Brian. Thank you.
And God has been with us, ladies and gentlemen, and has heard our cries for help, for guidance, for healing. We enter upon the threshold. That threshold, we stand upon that stairway, looking to the other world. And to do that, we must rise. Let everyone rise, and may their voices be heard. Let us speak unto God, and perhaps, just perhaps, we may see a spirit among us, our Lord. Let us turn to page 262 and stand upon that higher ground, first and last stanzas.
I
want to go a little higher? Let us gather together into that garden of prayer of the two worlds, where beauty and splendor, never known and seen in this physical world, where we may see this love once again, with their love. First stanza of In the Garden, in the little blue books, page 15, together, let us walk into that garden. The voices. I see a beautiful, beautiful joy guide. A joy guide. I see, what is a blue? What is the color blue? And is there a bell? And I hear a bell ringing 3 times with love, the Trinity. I feel love around you, Ruby. I'm happy that you're here today. I want to send love. I hear that something new and something beautiful is about to happen to Christine. I felt like already you've been feeling and sensing this. I feel like something to do with school is going to be a better year than ever. I feel she's becoming more and more independent.
Yes, she is.
But she's still clinging to her God, and that's the beauty of it. I want to send help and healing. I feel there's a Ruby too. I feel like back, and there's healing sent. I feel a healing prayer from a doctor. Is there a Dr. Johnson with you?
I think she has
A Dr. Johnson? But I do feel there's a tall pine. And there's a red cloud.
Yeah, she is.
I want to send help and I want to send happiness. I feel like you'll be going on a trip without the family. I feel like this is going to be with a... Do you have someone in the living, a sister?
Yes, I do.
I feel like you'll be going to see her. I almost feel that you've been thinking about this and it's going to manifest. Around September, look forward to this.
Okay.
All will be well. And I see no problems with family. I see all good things. I want to go right over here. I see a beautiful guy, and I'm trying to think, an Indian princess that stands next to you, lady next to you. I hear the last name of Marble. I want to say hello. Reverend him. Blessings to you. All good things are coming. I feel renewed membership with church and group around you. You're going to be busy, busy, busy. That's what I'm hearing, because would there be a spirit doctor in your band by the name of Rogers or something? A doctor, a spirit doctor. He's here and wanting to send help specifically for this. You do a lot of writing. I feel a new book on healing. That seems to be your specialty in the metaphysical healing. He's going to help you with this. Is there a Carol in the living around you?
Yes.
A good friend? I want to send healing her way. I feel like you've heard some news and all will be well. I feel like there's been some x-rays or some results given, but there's going to be a complete turnaround with her. I also want to say there is somebody, and is there a... I hear a last name, Gibbons. You recognize his name? In spirit, they're here. I feel like it's a husband and wife. Is this a couple both? That I feel mother knows too.
Right.
They're here and they're helping. They said they like the house. I felt like there's been a talk about a move or something. And I feel like they're here and they're kind of nudging you not to.
Okay.
You're yes, no,
Right.
as the sun changes, but I feel like you'll be there for quite some time. The move isn't right for you yet.
Okay.
Blessings to you. I want to go over here. I want to hear the lady over here seated in the checker in the blouse. Say hello. Yes, you. Right in front here. Yes, you. Okay. There's somebody in spirit by the name of Tricia or Teresa that's around you. I feel is Teresa a sister of healing. You've been asking yourself what is going on. You're feeling a difference in thought. I feel a new attitude, a new change within. I feel a love for children. Is this true? There's going to be some help, and I feel like there's going to be some work involving children if there isn't already. Are there children in your life?
Just grandchildren.
Okay. I feel a renewed interest in healing and something to do with a center, a care center with children. On the side, some work. It'll do wonders for you. I want to say, have you got a new car? But you've been sending out thoughts about a car.
My friend was just recently.
Okay. I feel like you're going to get this fixed, but you're not going to, by springtime, you're going to have a different car. I feel like you don't want to put any more money into this, and it's going to be, and I almost feel like, why do I see this? It seems like a Mercury, a new Mercury, a reddish Mercury I see coming your way. Lady seated back here, say hello again. The one seated with the red ribbon in her hair. That's you. Say hello. That's right. Say hello.
My name is Kim.
Kim, blessings Kim. But you know, you're named after someone in spirit by that name, Kim. Kimberly. Do you recognize this? Or not Kimberly, but a different name. And I feel like, who is an Agnes? I feel an Aggie. Somebody called her Aggie around you. In spirit. I feel that healing is your calling. You have a brother in the living?
Yes.
In fact, somebody said two?
I have one not living, one living half.
Okay. 2.5? Okay. I want to say you're going to be hearing from the brother that's in the living. But there was one in spirit, and I felt like this accident was tragic. This passing was tragic.
Yeah.
Okay, quickly. But I want to say there's going to be some help. There is somebody, and I feel marrying with you, a close friend in a living. Friend you're going to be hearing from very soon, within the next 2 weeks. Blessings to you. You're going to have good... I almost, you know, are there children around you? Because I feel like there's two.
I have her, she's around me.
Okay.
Can't see her.
I see her. I see her light and it's beautiful. I feel music is with this little girl. I feel like piano. She's drawn to it. Turn her loose in a room and you'll see. There's a Marie that's around you.
Yes, my friend.
She's here. And she seemed to be something, she's showing me a piano and she seemed to be playing it. An old piano, an upright piano, an antique piano that she loved. I don't feel like this was in the house, but I feel like this was back in the 20s that she played. Check the family tree out, you'll find out. There's music in the family.
Her grandmother plays the piano, or used to.
Boys, blessings to you. Blessings. I want to go back over here. I hear a last name. What is day? Do I hear night or day? Is this night or day? Day, okay. Sharon, I want to send love and blessings. Somebody, and I feel like there's a Richard and there's a Carl here in spirit. Wanting to say hello. There's going to be a change at work. You keep saying, no, there isn't. I'm going to be stuck here for the rest of my life serving my sentence, but you're not. I do feel this change is going to be taking place in a better management position. Did you just go to a doctor recently? Okay, I felt like the news has been a little bit better and encouraging. Well, what I hear, things are going to be encouraging. Continue on with thoughts and beliefs. Your faith is strong. Let them not deter it down. I see healing with your legs. I see healing with your back. I want to go over here, and I want to say there's a beautiful little girl that seems to be a guy that goes right over to here to Rachel. And I feel like it's Rose, a little rose, a beautiful blossom of love. I want to say, have you been getting ideas lately about writing poetry?
I read a lot of it.
Okay, but you're going to be writing a lot of it. So she said, I see Mama in the chair in the evenings reading a lot, and instead of reading, she's going to be writing. And I'm going to help her. You feel it's like all of a sudden giggling at times? She's there. That's her, little Rose. She's going to help you. All things will be well. I do feel like there is going to be a trip, and there's going to be a trip south for you. You know what I'm talking about? No. Okay. I feel like you have a friend from high school that you haven't heard from in a long time. And there's a girl who is Sharon or Sarah. I hear that first name. You'll be invited. Blessings.